Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first ever Be the Good Town Call, or as we like to call it, Extravaganza. I'm Alex Klein.
And I'm Idris James, and we will be the hosts this lovely evening.
We all know that this year has looked very different.
And it's taken a lot of time to get used to. But tonight, we hope to motivate you and encourage you to be the good.
In 2008, Joel and Teresa Poppins set out to do just that, based on the simple belief that students can make a real difference in the world if empowered to follow their passions. When students are empowered to chase their passions, they learn what breaks their heart, and they have the drive and the courage to change it.
The Poppin family saw a need in the community. Students wanted to use their voice to create good. They worked with members in the community through empathy and connection. From these core ideas, Project Good was born.
It created a movement because students wanted to use their voices for good. One Stone continued to just grow and expand. When students joined, it wasn't always, I'm going to use One Stone to change the world. It was more, I want to use my voice. And the outcome of what they did was good.
The energy was infectious. It was as simple as creating a community filled with good, surrounded by all the good One Stone was actively doing. In return, our army of good continued to grow.
One Stone helps you realize how much good is inside of you. You're given a unique and personal experience that truly sticks with you.
One Stone helps us students build a toolkit for life, driven by an intention to support growth in mindset, knowledge, creativity, skills, and above all, student voice. When students graduate One Stone, they have gained an understanding of the world and how they can do good. When we see something in the world that breaks our heart, we know it's time to act.
Since One Stone began in 2008, it has evolved into what we know it to be today. We believe that there is good in the world. Tonight, we hope to inspire you. We hope to take you away from your stresses of your life and to fill your hearts with good. Help to see how you can be the good in the world, and how at Lab 51, we do so every day.
Over these past 10 plus weeks, our community has thrived through some really good things.
200 hours of in-person love of learning shared at the Boys and Girls Club.
39 Sustainable Development Goal Team projects.
37 YLab projects, all solving things that break our upcoming graduates' hearts.
11 mission labs.
10 immersive experiences.
6 project goods, activating good in community gardens, Empower, Betterment, Game Changers, Love of Learning, and Flip.
And one phenomenal gratitude week with at least 50 bags of leaves raked for our community and 150 total boxes of food delivered to our One Stone community.
And so much more.
Like everyone in the world, we had to adapt because of COVID, but using the power of the pivot, we never skipped a beat and we were always doing good.
Before we hear from our speakers tonight, I want to give you this time to set aside all distractions and fully immerse yourself in student stories of doing good. Please silence your cell phones, close other tabs and work, and commit to be fully with us for this town call. With your full attention and your cameras on, turn views to speaker view, and make sure you have a piece of paper and a Sharpie.
Close your eyes and imagine the hush as the lights dim for Onestone's traditional celebrations of student voice. If you haven't experienced one of these events yet, imagine Onestone seated with hundreds of family members and community members, all ready to see the students step up on the microphone for the first time. Okay, now that you get the feeling, this is exactly what we hope to bring you all tonight, and it can be done. We cannot wait to share it with all of you.
The students presenting tonight have prepared to show us their fall 2020, what they've worked on so hard to create and what they're so proud to call their own. For our first presenters, we have Micaiah and Izzy talking about a song they collaborated on, and then Reagan speaking on the good of the X-Lab Halloween extravaganza.
Hello everyone, my name is Izzy and I am an X-Labber here at Lab 51, intending to graduate in 2024.
And I'm Micaiah. This is my second year of D-Lab and I'm planning to graduate in 2022.
This past summer and fall, I have had lots of opportunities shut down and lots of anxious feelings arise. For example, I was planning on going on a mission trip to Uganda in late June. I was so excited. I had never had an opportunity like this before, and I knew I would learn so much about Ugandan culture, lifestyle, and my spirituality. I started learning French, getting my yellow fever shot, and fundraising like crazy. Then came COVID. To go to Uganda, I would have to go through a 2-week quarantine. Because 2 weeks was the whole length of the trip, it was canceled. I felt crushed and so frustrated. Even though a canceled trip was not a huge deal, it felt like all my hard work and mental energy had come to a grinding halt.
I think that this year could be considered rock bottom for a lot of us. Isolation, canceled plans, and misplaced feelings have barged in on our lives. With all the changes going on, music and writing songs has been something that kept me grounded and gave me hope. I've always loved it, but this past year it has really saved me. As the summer progressed and fall came, even more unexpected changes started to happen. The protests, the election, COVID, and a new school year. Everything felt out of control. All these feelings were channeled into the song I helped write at my Boise Rock Mission Lab. At the beginning, we were given the prompt to write about something that happened this year. When I heard that, I thought, great, another thing to write about Corona.
But we didn't know that the election, racism, changing weather, and depression would become a verse, a chorus, and a bridge. I felt my anxious feelings become represented in the lyrics, and I started to learn something. It's okay to not have control. It's okay to not know what's going to happen next. We are human. We are not meant to understand everything. Let's give ourselves some grace.
In the song that Izzy and I wrote, the first line is, leaves falling from the sky, same with my state of mind, seasons change all the time. To me, it's a perfect way to sum up how this first term has been. Between struggling with my mental health and trying to take on more in my life, a lot of times it felt like I was falling and falling without my control. While this was very true for me, there were of course many times where I could see hope and the bright side of these situations. I think that's what the meaning of this song is. All of these exhausting, terrible things are true, but there's a silver lining to all of it. In our song called This Year, the chorus is, it can only get better from here, rock bottom, build it up.
We can get back up from the rock bottom we have been stuck on. Part of this process for me has been diving headfirst into Onestone, participating in Love of Learning, and building new relationships. These experiences of doing good and being on the receiving end of that have really empowered me. So tonight, I want to do good for you by sharing our song. You are listening to the first 30 seconds of our song right now, and you will have the opportunity to listen to the whole thing later tonight. Feeling trapped in our negative emotions breaks my heart, but through music, we can find a form of release. I hope in sharing this song that it will help others process their own feelings. Maybe our music can be the good in more than just my life.
There are small and big victories through this time, and it really can only get better from here. This song has helped me realize a lot of good in my life, and I hope it can do the same for you.
Hello, I'm Regan Ibarra in Next Lab. Growing up, my mom told me that there are three keys to happiness. Everyone needs something to love, something to do, and something to look forward to. This year has been rough, but I had something to love, my family, things to do, but I found myself with little to nothing to look forward to, which was especially sad when Halloween was coming up. Halloween has been my favorite holiday since I was young. On Halloween, I always felt like I could express myself, and this helped me feel connected to my community. So it was sad and disappointing to potentially not have that this year. I prepared myself to miss out on Halloween until the X Lab group proposed the idea of redesigning Halloween. I knew immediately that this had to be done, not only for me, but for the community to continue to be good. To me, the statement, be the good, means that you are doing anything to benefit something else. That something could mean a person, people, an object, or even oneself. I believe that Halloween is the ultimate example of being the good. Seeing people express themselves and giving out candy just because they know that it makes others happy has always inspired me. For one day a year, we don't see barriers. We only see people having fun and even more people giving into that fun. With that in mind, I made it a point to make this event as good as possible. In order for this event to be the good, I knew that it also had to be safe. Personally, I have someone who is high risk at home, so I know the importance of safety and health during these times. XLab has worked for days on end to ensure that this event could be safe, fun, and good. The weeks leading up to the extravaganza felt like a blur of work, but I don't remember being stressed because I knew that what I was doing was good. When the day finally came, I felt everything that Halloween normally was. I felt the self-expression, joy, and good in the air. It felt fun yet safe. The gathering had exceeded my initial expectations. I remember multiple families coming up to my group's table and thanking us. They mainly thanked us for being fun and safe, which were our major goals. That night, I reflected on the event and I knew that I had been the good. I'd been the good not only for my community, but for myself. I'd given myself the last key to happiness. In the future, I hope to do another event similar to the extravaganza. The feeling that this event gave me left a lasting impression, and I will never forget it. I want to thank my XLab team and everyone who came to the extravaganza. Thank you for encouraging me to be the good.
Thank you so much, Micaiah, Izzy, and Reiki. Those were all amazing presentations. I would like to introduce our next two presenters, Mac, who will talk about her passion as a tool for good, and Mackenzie Link, who will share about her resistance to climbing the mountain of change.
Hi everyone, my name is Mac Stockdale and I'm a D-Lab student planning to graduate in 2023. Before coming to One Stone, I viewed music as an assignment for school, and I thought passion and service mixed like oil and water. They were two completely different choices and didn't combine well at all. There's no emotion tied to my music, and I felt lost trying to find if I really was passionate about music. I did not know if I even enjoyed it or if music was just something that was encouraged to pursue when I was younger. But when I arrived at One Stone, I was given the opportunity to explore new passions and throw myself into the deep end of curiosity to find my soon-to-be major passion. One Stone gave me that opportunity to be vulnerable with myself and music, teaching me that I might fail, but if I do, I will embrace those mistakes and grow because of them. These past several weeks, I've used music as a way to express myself. I often struggle to understand or voice what I was feeling at any particular moment. But when it came to writing music, I felt like my emotions just poured out of me like a waterfall. But I still viewed passion and service as two different paths. You had to choose to go one direction or the other. You couldn't go down the middle. That's where my first immersion play on proved me wrong. During this 4-week experience, I was given the opportunity to perform at a retirement home in the last week of the immersion. My days in play on consisted of surveying the elders about their favorite artists and songs, and getting straight to learning those songs to perform. I was put into a small band with 5 other peers from One Stone, and we were all buzzing with excitement to get started. The day of performing, walking into the retirement home, you could feel the eagerness and excitement in the room. Getting to see how much of an impact we made just by the smallest interactions sparked a new motivation to keep spreading good through music. That this opportunity was not going to be the end of it, but the start of a new personal mission. So when I was given the opportunity to create something that captured how I've done good these past several weeks, I created a video of me performing at a local community of elders. This opened my eyes to a whole new world of passion and service, and I realized that they thrive together to be the good in life. There had to be passion with it. They come hand in hand. With this, I realized that music could be a vessel through which I can create a lot of good in the world. This made me much more passionate about music. It made me realize how, if you're creative enough, your passion can become a tool to make positive change in the community. I want to spread good throughout the community through my passion for music, inspiring people to use their passions as a tool for good, for them to also fall back in love with music. May that be listening to it on the ride to work or even writing their own music. I want them to long for it on the hard days, seeing it as a way to embrace vulnerability. One Stone has opened my eyes to new creative opportunities and perspectives of my passions. And I'm so grateful I can disrupt for good by doing something I love.
I'm Mackenzie Link, and I am incredibly resistant to change. Coming back to One Stone this fall was hard. I struggled pivoting to a remote environment, working in small pods, socially distancing from staff and students, and adjusting to all of the other COVID protocols. It was hard not to see everyone, meet new students, have group hugs at the end of our campfires, and be in a big circle at the end of every day with a 3, 2, 1 stone. This term has been the most difficult time of my life because of all the challenges in the world and all of the massive changes in my life. This year is coming to a close, and I am coming to terms with the changes it has brought. I've struggled, had my breakdowns, and had my breakthroughs. I have climbed this massive mountain of change, and I am just now barely seeing the top. When I was asked, how can I be the good and create a digital artifact representing this, I made this video. It is my celebration for how high I have climbed. This video is in honor of myself and a tribute to someone who has created the biggest challenge, but who has also brought me the most opportunity for doing good.
This is Janet. She is a sister, a daughter, a mother, a wife, a grandmother, and a friend. She is a social butterfly and knows all the lyrics to her favorite songs. She loved baking, long walks, coffee, dancing, playing games, and she played on 3 bowling leagues a week. She was loyal, and if you had asked her what the most important thing in life was, she would have said family. This is Janet, or as I know her, Mimi. For 15 years, she has been my teacher, role model, confidant, and creator of fun. She taught me to sing, dance, play baseball, be nice to my sister, bake, and play endlessly. Now, the question might have arisen. How does this relate to doing good? Well, let's restart.
This is Janet. 7 years ago, she was diagnosed with dementia. 7 weeks ago, she moved in with my family and will be staying with us for the foreseeable future. And just like that, our lives changed drastically. Some days I handled it well. I was calm and patient. Most days I was overcome with anger and frustration. I cried, ranted, and took out my anger on my parents and my pillow. I was faced with this crazy challenge of accepting massive change, and all I experienced was resistance. Upon reflection of my new world, I started asking myself some big questions. How can I be a force for good in the world if I'm resistant to this opportunity to do good in someone else's world? I have all of these big ideas and desire to do good in the world, but this experience is showing me that change starts within me, in my home, in every moment, with every act. And then I remember, in the spring of 2019, I wrote this on my One Stone application as a response to the question, how do you make the world a better place? Taking care of my grandparents and making them laugh is what I strive to accomplish, to bring joy into their lives. Every time I see my grandmother, she is a new person, and my goal is to make whoever she is in that moment as happy as she can be. And slowly, I feel my resistance lessening. I have a beautiful opportunity to fulfill on a deeper level what I wrote about over a year ago. I could go through this super resistant and focus on how hard this is, or I can embrace it and focus on how this is an opportunity. This is the choice I get to make each day. I get to choose to do good. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mackenzie and Mac. That was truly inspiring. The next presenter we have is Maz, who will be performing a live monologue expressing his transformational process at One Stone, and Greta, talking about her relationship with her little sister from Big Brother, Big Sisters of America program.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to be performing a monologue from The Glass Menagerie, a play by Tennessee Williams, one that is incredibly meaningful to me because I relate to the character Tom so much. Tom's circumstances are not too dissimilar from the circumstances that I found myself in the last 3 or 4 years. I was miserable and in a lot of pain. This monologue embodies that pain. I am treating this piece as a farewell letter of sorts and hope to say goodbye to my former self and embrace the new opportunities to evolve at One Stone. Listen, you think I'm crazy about the warehouse? You think I'm in love with the Continental Shoemakers? You think I want to spend 55 years down there in that Celotex interior? With the fluorescent tubes? Look, I'd rather somebody picked up a crowbar and battered out my brains than go back mornings. I go. Every time you come and yelling that goddamn rise and shine, I think how lucky dead people are. For $65 a month, I give up all I've ever dreamed of doing or being ever. And you say self. Self's all I ever think of. Why, listen, if self was all I ever thought of, Mother, I'd be just like him, gone. As far away as the systems of transportation would take me. Thank you all for listening to this. This does good for me because it gives others the opportunity to do good. This takes an extraordinary amount of courage and vulnerability to perform for you all. And by articulating this, I hope that you can have a little bit of empathy for me and others who are putting themselves out there right now, stretching to find more ways to be good, whatever that looks like. Being the good means putting others before yourself, and furthermore, putting the world before yourself. If we can all find it in our hearts to put people before ourselves, then the problems that we face as a species will most definitely be mitigated. Thank you all so very much.
Hi, my name is Greta Borze. I'm 17 and in my final year at One Stone Lab 51. I love that we're all able to share this moment with you and what the students are doing here at One Stone to update you all as our community and express our love through our army of good for good. I have been lucky enough to be a part of Lab 51 for the past 2.5 years. I believe in being good. It has to do with growing and fostering individual values such as selflessness, charity, integrity, and virtue. This means doing good even when nobody's looking or there to acknowledge your services. I spend my time with others willingly and productively. I also have major responsibilities, such as volunteering with Big Brothers, Big Sisters. This being said, I have a little sister. She's not blood related to me. I only have an older sister and 2 younger brothers at my house. This is my chosen younger sister. She's 10 years old, blonde with blue eyes, coincidentally just like all my other siblings, and she's the best thing since sliced baby Swiss cheese, which she has actually said to me before. I haven't got a lot of experience with younger kids. Usually, I picture them crying, bossy, and moody, but my little sister has shown evidence contrary to that. Her name is Sophia, with an F. I met her on Halloween Day in 2019. We wasted no time setting up to be paired. As a part of this system, we were previously interviewed to give more personal information. Our personalities were put together and matched, so we may get along best. After meeting and talking, she decided that day I was the one she wanted to be her big. Since then, we have met weekly and bonded very well. Over summer, I went to a camp, so I couldn't see her as often, but I knew she was home, waiting for me to hop on a call whenever I could. I struggled with depression through spring, and she had her own hardships she was willing to open up about. She trusts and relies on me to be there for her as I observe and notice everything about Sophia Cooper, the most important person in our new world we have built together, as big and little. Last month, on November 19th, after I returned from a week trip without seeing my little Sophia, I was informed of a cancerous brain tumor that grew in her head. It was surgically removed, and she rested in the ICU for as long as they needed her to stay. She will be on chemotherapy for the next 6 months until further notice. This darling, energetic girl is faced with one of the most unpredictable illnesses. I knew any negativity of any kind toward this event in her life would only make the matter worse. Hearing this news firsthand, you can imagine what was going on in my chaotic head as I bawled in tears. This moment was shared only between me and our counselor, who passed this information to me through a call. After my release of emotion, I was prepared to move on, authentically joyful and ready to see her. I would like to inform you that Sophia and I are getting back into talking over video calls weekly as she rests at home and I continue to mentor her. Every thought she shares makes me humbly thankful for her to be capable of such things. I believe a child needs heroes and a good example on their life. Sophia needs that, and I am that. I am most importantly her friend. I am what moves her thoughts and affects her mood. I am who she accepted as her big sister a year and a half ago, and she needs me here now to be positive and accepting of her at all times. I kept all of her little drawings and notes for me, and she still kept most of her long, beautiful blonde hair. Only difference is 18 stitches and a headache. From what I can see, with her new bazillion stuffed animals, fresh polish on her nails, and what else she shares, Sophia is doing pretty well, and I'm proud I get to be a part of that. She relies on her close friends that are able to visit, to check on her in person. She relies on me to be a rock for her and allow the hard feelings to come and go. I accept her as she is, and I accept the fact that I know I spent every moment I could with my little sister, Sophia. I believe in being good. As a part of this army of good for good, and as for Sophia and our world together, this has given me the opportunity to be this good in someone's life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Greta and Maz. Both those stories were truly impactful, and they took so much vulnerability. You both did such a great job. Next, we have Sidian and Lila talking about what it meant to them to truly be the good these last several weeks.
Hello, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sidian, and I'm a Y-Lab student. Doing good is obviously different for everyone, but it's something that's really important to me. So I've spent a lot of time defining what good means to me. For me, helping my community is one of the most important aspects of doing good. But in the last year or so, I lost track of where my values lie. This is why I wrote a poem that reflects my experience with Project Good and how being a part of Project Good played a role in reminding me of who I am and how I feel fulfilled. Over the summer, I was not at a place mentally where I wanted to participate in community activities. All I wanted to do was isolate myself. I had given up on trying to help my community and struggled to see that anything I could do would really have an impact on the people around me. It was at this point that Allison Parker pushed me to get involved with Love of Learning. She sent me a message one afternoon while I was trying to sleep, basically telling me to get on a Google Meet. I got on the Google Meet with no context, and from then on, I was on the Love of Learning team. Although it was still hard for me to see the point of what I was doing, I showed up every day and gave it my 100%. For those of you who aren't familiar with Love of Learning,
We mentored younger students to help create and strengthen healthy relationships, build confidence, and help students transition to a new kind of learning environment. A few weeks into working with my buddy, I finally found the answer to my question of, does what I'm doing even matter? I casually asked my buddy what the best part of his week was. He easily and matter-of-factly said that it was hanging out with me, of course. This is when I realized the impact that I had on the people I worked with. This inspired me to do more, and since then I've helped other kids too. Now I'd like to share my poem. A shadow builds, lurking, consuming, inviting all who see it. Everyone has choice, but what are you to do when all you see is one path? You're just waiting for a sign, and then one comes, but it's not what you expect. Then again, what were you expecting? It's the friend that pushes you to engage and invites you to explore what's to be had. The shadow still remains. It will likely always be there. All you can do is take the light the friend has given you and force the shadow to retreat. You show up, you do your part, one day at a time. Pretty soon that day bleeds into a month. And by the time you ask, what's even the point? You already know the answer, and there's definitely an answer. This was the nature of my experience. And the answer was, because the best part of my week was seeing you. If there's one thing I hope you all take away from my story, it's the small things can have a major impact on someone's life. Those couple hours I spent with my buddy were the best part of his week. This is how I've been the good. Thanks for listening.
Hello, my name is Lila Cooper. To me, being the good means inspiring creativity in others. As we get older, I believe that most people lose excitement for the world around them, and with that, their creativity and imagination. Someone pulls the drain plug and it all drips away. But One Stone has helped me look at the world through a creative lens, just like when I was a child. When I was younger, I would go on walks with my dad and steal his phone. I would take pictures of everything I could see. I loved being able to capture the fleeting beauty of memories and make them live forever. As I started junior high, my focus turned to grades and assignments and exams. I started taking less photos and I lost sight of my passions. I was at a place where I felt my interests weren't valued and my creativity suffered because of that. After making the decision to come to One Stone this fall, I learned that there is so much I can do with my passions and that they are truly useful skills. One Stone inspired the creativity that was dwelling inside me. I started making music, exploring art, and taking pictures again. The landscape watercolor immersion that I engaged in this fall was one of the biggest reasons for all of this new growth. Immersions are 4-week immersive experiences centered around a topic. Students write unique guiding questions and learning objectives based on their passions and curiosity, which drive the focus in the immersion. The landscape watercolor immersion focused on water and the natural environment around us. We explored these topics through research and observation, and we used scientific and artistic methods to understand what we saw. Drawing, watercolor painting, photography, and research design were just a few of the mediums used by the students in this immersion. We got to engage in explorations including hiking and wading in the river, and we heard from artists and naturalists to expand our grasp on what being a part of this living ecosystem really means. Because of this immersion, I decided to revisit my interest in photography, and I ended up falling in love with it all over again. The photos that you see right now are a few of the ones I've taken for landscape watercolor. To me, these pictures signify the good that One Stone has been for me by inspiring me to be creative, and I hope that they inspire others to be creative as well. One Stone has re-gifted me that beautiful, imaginative lens that you look through the world at when you were a child. And the friends I've made here and the coaches that I've gotten the chance to connect with are the most creative and inspiring people I have ever been around. They have been the good for me by inspiring me to be creative. And in just these 4 short months that I've been a student at One Stone, I've already had so many opportunities to be the good by inspiring others. At the Boys and Girls Club, I was able to inspire young kids to draw and explore nature through activities that my peers and I crafted. I also worked with my X-Lab group to create and host a COVID-safe Halloween experience for elementary school kids. Through this, I was able to create an outlet for kids to be creative and to be proud of what they made. With this new innovative mindset that I'm growing at One Stone, I'm ready to build on what I've already done here and go out into the world and be the good. Thank you.
Thank you, Lila and Sidian. Our last presenters will be Mai Joelle and Mackenzie, expressing how they've used their voices these past few weeks to investigate and advocate for things they believe in.
When was the last time you took a moment to pay attention to the little things around you, either before COVID or in this pandemic? Have you been seeing things in a new perspective during these hard times? Well, hello. I'm a scientist. I'm a curious person who tries to look at issues from multiple perspectives rather than just one, so that other voices can be heard and so that I can be open-minded about potential solutions to a problem. My open-mindedness, combined with my why statement, has helped me go deeper into my education in areas such as computer science and math. Is it hard? Yes, but it's worth the effort. If we don't challenge ourselves, then what are we doing? Now, this might be a weird way of introducing myself, but it's better than saying, "Hi, I'm Majawe." This way of introducing myself doesn't give me a context of who I am. So I chose this way instead, to represent myself. One Stone has taught me to push myself, to accept myself, grow from my mistakes. One Stone has taught me to push through the limits and see things in a different perspective. For my artifact, I wanted to represent a different way we can see things in our world by using one of my passions that I revisited last month. Photography. Photography was always something that helped me see things in a new lens when I'm feeling low, and especially now during COVID. I wanted to show a way we can see everyday things differently. I was inspired by my interviews for my design lab about sex education and racial minorities in Idaho, until my interview with Josie Larson, a woman who teaches sex education in refugees in Boise. I didn't think sex education was a problem here. During the interview, she told me about how most refugee women don't receive any information about sex until they get married. And even then, they receive very little formal education about it. My interview with Josie helped me see Boise through a new lens and understand how many problems exist in our city. The most people never know about. This is what I want to show in my artifact. Different perspectives. We might assume that because we're taught sex education as kids, everyone else was too. But understanding the circumstances of other people, rather than making assumptions, helps you identify new ways to create good. This is what I want to change, to create good in my community. I hope that my photographs help people understand their city, as well as the people in it, in a new way. Thanks for listening, and have a good rest of your night.
Hello, my name is Mackenzie Davidson. I'm a D-Lab student planning on graduating in 2022. This is my first year attending One Stone, and it has already been a life-changing experience. Before I got here, I didn't feel supported to speak my mind or to stand up for what I believed in. I didn't find opportunities to be an advocate or to use my voice if it was something different from what the majority or leadership might believe. It was pretty hard to find anything I agreed with. I was constantly put down and belittled. I began to think that my voice didn't matter, and that no matter what I did, nothing would change. I kept my activism to myself and gave up on the fight. Then, my mom found One Stone, a school that encouraged the students to use their voices for good. It was really a no-brainer. I had to go there. When I had been accepted, I got a letter telling me why One Stone chose me. It was everything I was passionate about. The fact that I wanted to make a change and to be the good. To me, being the good means that you don't sit back. You fight for what you believe in, and One Stone has really helped me to do that. Since coming here, I've studied plastic pollution in the Boise River. I've written letters to elected officials encouraging them to make a change. I joined Empower Her and am working on a podcast to give women and young girls a place to find inspiration and role models. I've won Best Delegate at a Model United Nations conference discussing green energy on behalf of Russia, and I have joined a team that is fighting to raise awareness for child trauma and trafficking. OneStone encourages me to use my passions to be the good and to spark change. I used my passion for filmmaking to create a stop-motion video for our child trauma awareness team, Brave Futures, and Celeste even calls me Congresswoman Davidson because of my passion for politics and activism. To show the change that I have made, want to make, and will make, I have created a collage. It is made of several pictures I took throughout these past few months and of posters from causes that fuel my desire to incite change. The pictures I took are from my first immersion, landscape watercolor. I focused on the pollution in the Boise River and how it was affecting life around the river. I found and took pictures of 57 pieces of plastic and non-biodegradable products at just 4 different sites. The posters are of Greenpeace, Sea Shepherds, the Green New Deal, the ivory trade, poaching, climate change, and pollution. These issues break my heart the most and push me to fight for change because they are all man-made problems. Everything I have done at OneStone and plan to do in the future is to end the cycle of destruction and cruelty, and to encourage others to join me and to use their voices just like OneStone has helped me to use mine. OneStone has given me the tools to advocate and fight, and has helped me find my voice again. I'm so glad that I've been given the opportunity to be the good with OneStone and for the continued support from the OneStone community.
Thank you, Mackenzie and Majuel. That was so amazing. All of these stories have really filled my heart with good, and there are so many stories just like the ones we've heard from tonight.
OneStone has always showed up to do good, and this year was no different.
We want to end things tonight with a question. What does doing good mean to you? To me, doing good means using your passions, interests, and curiosities to make an impact in your community.
To me, doing good means sharing your skills and abilities to help others when they need it.
And now we want to hear from you. Please find the paper and pen that you brought with you and write on it a short phrase or word that answers the question, what does doing good mean to you? And hold up your paper and we'll take some time to look through our amazing community's responses.
We have one last announcement for you all before we leave you with a parting gift.
I think that's me. That was incredibly inspiring, and as usual has left me overwhelmed, teary, and a bit speechless, as I am every time that our students share the ways in which they see and do good in the world. This is what OneStone is all about and why we do what we do every day. We believe in the power of students. We're creating an army of good for good, as these students told you tonight, equipped with a toolkit for life that will enable them to go out in the world and find something that breaks their heart and do something about it. I want to talk to you for just a couple minutes about an event coming up that's very important to the ongoing success of OneStone. It's called the One Event. You've either heard of the One Event or you've been inspired as a One Event attendee. The event is an extraordinary example of student voice that you will leave knowing that the world is in good hands. You don't want to miss this, and I know that I have talked to all of you personally about the significance of this event and our ability to continue to provide One Stone programs at no cost. We don't need to tell you that this year has been different. Between Zoom calls, face masks, COVID surveys, pods, social distancing, we can safely say that we feel like 2020 has been at least a year and a half. When One Stone had the half-baked idea to launch in 2008, we knew that given half a chance, we could make a whole lot of difference. And we didn't know the half of it. In our eyes, the glass is always half full. With every moment of connection, pride, insight, and elevation, that glass gets filled. When we safely continue in a pandemic to inspire a love of learning in young people, we believe in the better half. The first time students put on waders and get half soaked in the Boise River, we believe in the better half. When we have important, tough conversations about race, equality, and building a future together, we believe in the better half. Nothing One Stone does is half-hearted. And even though this year we celebrate and learn differently, it's not half bad. Please join us in sponsoring and attending the One Half event, One Stone's virtual pivot for our annual fundraiser, allowing us to share the better half with our whole community. Although this is the One Half event, our goal is to double the funds we raise to support our students, and we expect our whole community to be involved. So mark your calendars for the week of sharing that better half, beginning February 15th and culminating with the One Half event on Saturday, February 20th, 2021. Thank you and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you so much, Teresa. And as a gift to you all, here's our Be the Good gallery.
One Stone believes in the power of students to be the good in the world. And in this particular time, as we approach the end of 2020, we need student voice more than ever. Scroll through this gallery, click on the faces of good. See and hear how each student is making positive impact on their world, their community, and their own life. What you see now is a collection of all our Be the Good student statements and students' digital artifacts. Take your time to enjoy these. This will be here for you to enjoy and to leave positive comments on. We have all poured our hearts into these, and we really hope that they uplift yours.
We hope we've left you tonight feeling inspired to do good. So get out there, go make an impact. Thank you so much for taking time out of your night to join us and to be the good. Thank you.
That was awesome.
Great job.
Thank you, everyone. Great job.
Thank you.
I love everyone who is on this call. Just thank you all so much.
Thank you guys. That was amazing.